Hello everybody, ScotsThinker here, and I've got a friend from England, Jarf here.
Wales.
Wales. Oh, Wales. Oh, I thought you were...
I'm in Wales right now. I'm from England.
Oh, you're from England, but you're currently in Wales. You're currently in Wales.
Currently in Wales.
In Wales, there's all kinds of ridginess mountains.
Of course you.
Fun fact, I actually took part in a play called Under Milk Wood, which is a very specifically Welsh story, a Welsh community piece, if you will. It's a very bizarre story. I don't know if you've ever heard of Under Milk Wood, but it's a very bizarre story.
I have not. My mum might have. I'm not that much into Welsh community stuff, to be fair.
And where did you say you were living again, Jarf?
I'm living in Swansea. I don't really know a lot about where I live, to be honest. I come from Bristol, but it's what it is.
Oh, the cost of soap flakes. That's another reference to it. Anyway, here we are. I thought I'd invite Jarf to react to this peculiar fan film made all the way back in 2009. This is an independent studio, and yet this caught so much attention, it gained as much favor as the actual, well, Peter Jackson movies themselves, and now, peculiarly enough, it's been recently announced that Peter Jackson's gonna make his own new film based on Middle-earth. At first, people like myself and my friend Brooks, the Squid Bear, thought, oh, he's gonna make a Silmarillion movie, and it's gonna give him decades to make, but as it turns out, no. He and Andy Serkis are teaming up for a Hunt for Gollum film. I was like, okay, I guess that makes more sense in scope, but the comparison is very peculiar and interesting because, you know, there's this fan film and now Peter Jackson's making his own version, so I thought, tell you what, I'm going to invite a friend, we're going to react to the fan film and give our thoughts on how we could compare the two and what Peter Jackson could have installed for us. Alright, so without further ado...
Let's get going.
Let's get going, yes. Right, can you hear it?
At the end of the Third Age, Middle-earth was a land oppressed by shadow.
I think that's a yes, anyway.
The people of the North Kingdom were scattered, the descendants of kings forgotten, reduced to rangers wandering in the wild.
Remember, this is an independent movie.
It's probably better than the Rings of Power series, to be honest.
Oh yes, another inevitable comparison, especially given the fact
that the lost Ring of Power had reawoken.
You just said it. Ring of Power.
Hey! Shilling for Rings of Power! Yay!
The one ring to rule them all. For 500 years it had remained out of his sight and beyond his reach. But there was another who also sought the ring. A creature who had long treasured it deep under the mountains and been consumed by its evil. His heart was tortured with longing for what he had lost and with hatred for the thief who took it. Bilbo Baggins.
Keep in mind, this was also made quite some time before Peter Jackson made the Hobbit trilogy.
That's a good question.
Ah, yeah.
It's from 2009. Oh, you're just a shady man sitting in the corner of the bar. Not stereotype.
Shady man is not going to be sponsoring shampoo anytime soon.
This.
And his guardian angel friend.
Looks like a wizard. Let me just
The Rangers have doubled
It
their
is
watch
a
as
wise
instructed.
man in the old
Is it still safe?
Anglo-Saxon sense.
Yes.
That's what Tolkien meant
For
by
the time being.
Yeah.
Hey! You got the wizard right.
He does look the part, to be fair.
Aye.
The enemy does not yet know
That's
that the
impressive.
ring has been found.
That is well.
The matter is more complicated. I have made a grave error. I overlooked something important, something dangerous. It concerns the former owner of the ring.
Gollum.
How he came by it, I do not know. But he's murderously protective of it, and now he has left his cave, his mind bent on recovering it.
Gollum knows, doesn't he, Gandalf? He knows the location of the ring.
Yes. Unfortunately, our secret is no longer safe. The foolish hobbit revealed his name.
It should have been destroyed.
But it was not.
I will go. I will find him.
Thank you, Aragorn.
You're welcome, Angel.
The road will not be easy. But you have the foresight of your people. If you can't find him, no one can.
What he does have are a very particular set of skills. Skills he's acquired over a very long career as a ranger.
I was so confused. I thought that was one of the voices.
The time comes.
Wait, so why are they finding Gollum?
Because Gollum knows about the details of the ring and certain details that could endanger the Baggins as well as the fact that he knows where the ring is. If he tells the enemy where the ring is, they're gonna find the ring and take over the world.
And it's currently at the Shire, right? I'm just trying to make sure I get my details right.
Yeah.
You
Okay,
are the heir
yeah.
of Elendil.
Ooh.
So basically, this is the story of Gandalf telling Arathorn, go find Gollum. The enemy finds it first.
Is this canon? Did this happen?
Yeah, this is canon to
Middle Earth cannot long withstand the power that now rises in the east. We are on the eve of a new age, for which there may be no dawn.
I have not seen that one.
It's pretty good adaptation.
I'm interested. I still need to watch The Passion of Christ.
Oh yeah, that's another great
I have not seen that. That's the amazing one.
Who knows whither he has crawled these long years past, and how so small a creature has come to risk the hopes of so many.
Another shady cloaked figure. He might not be the only person in need of shampoo or not.
I think he's about to get a shady. What do you call him? Shady companion.
Aye.
Your name and your purpose.
I'm a Ranger of Arnor. I swear allegiance to the 7 stars and 7 stones.
And the one white tree. You're a long way from Arnor, Ranger. And you speak the password of the Dúnedain, yet I know you not.
I'm Arathir, son of Aragorn, sent to gather news of the East.
Then we are kinsmen from afar. I am Strider.
I've heard your name. Friend.
These lands will not be safe much longer.
I called it.
Raiding orcs prowl the shores of Anduin, plundering the villages by night. Soon there will be even this side of the mountains.
The servants of the enemy multiply as his strength increases. Alas, there are now so few of our kin.
What of your journey?
I track a creature. A spy of sorts. Small in size, yet cunning.
I have seen new breeds of orc, but they grow larger and stronger, not smaller.
This is no orc. Its tracks are like those of a hobbit. It must not fall into the wrong hands.
This may be of no
I like
use,
to know the Hobbit. Yeah.
I've heard
Yeah.
rumors.
Seems Aragorn's familiar with the
Whisperings of a
tragedy
nameless
of
fear.
Smeagol.
In the outlying villages, they speak of a
Ooh.
ghost that drinks blood. A horror that lurks in the trees, snatching
Wasn't
a
Gollum
sleeping
an
child from a
elf, or
cot,
was he a Hobbit? I can't remember.
a fresh fish from an open window.
Smeagol was a hobbit, but then the ring
Villagers
corrupted
lock
him
their
into the
doors tight
little
against the
creature
dark.
that he is.
Yeah.
Where did you hear this?
In Ithilien. But I've also heard rumors as far as the borders of Mirkwood.
It's been actually a while since I've seen the whole trilogy. I've only seen the Hobbit in recent times.
Well, of course, The Hobbit's a very basic story about Bilbo going to the mountain, and he happens to come across Gollum and the ring, which is such a big event, which events are set in place.
Yeah.
And Gandalf says, "You don't think your adventure turned out to be luck?" Of course, we see Gollum here just going into people's houses, stealing people's supplies, but here's a grim fact. At this time, he was eating babies.
I would not go further eastward alone.
Nice.
That is my
Yeah,
I must go.
pretty messed up.
Do with Walden. Do with actually Walden.
My heart is with you, Arathir. Yet while the trail grows cold, my quest
I
can
mean, it's probably quite good for protein.
I must return to my people.
Well, in Gollum's own words himself, he prefers it raw and
Maiar,
wriggling.
Not even better.
not enemy.
The Elven language originated from Finnish language, fun fact.
I heard about that, yeah. Explains why every time I hear Finnish, I'm like, whoa. Finnish people.
Tolkien even wrote the Lord's Prayer in Finnish. I mean, Elvish.
Oh, wow.
Now I'm confusing the languages.
Same thing, same thing. I wonder how he knew Finnish.
Well, he studied European lore. Basically, the Lord of the Rings is this amalgamation of European cultures, Atlantis lore, Arthurian legend, Anglo-Saxon mythos.
When did Atlantis come into it? That's interesting.
And theological reclaiming as well, carrying on the tradition of like Grimm's fairy tales, all kinds of stuff like that.
Goblock says there's trouble, so look out
Oh.
and you'll get what's coming to you.
Good stuff, good stuff.
Goblock's just meat from the mines. Big and
It's
stupid.
impressive how even independently
We should
made
be preparing
films
for the
can
war.
get
Forget
this
this
prosthetic
stinking
makeup.
raid.
Look out for Goblock. He ain't just meat.
I mean, that's the thing though, like,
Fresh meat. My guts are howling.
most of the
so
good
hungry.
films are made by small studios now because the cost of production's gone down so much.
We'll get ourselves a nice
I've heard it
juicy
said that
Now stop
when
moaning
people
or
have
I'll
so
wring your
much
neck,
money,
you
they
scrawny
have
rat.
little reason
I'd
to
like to
care,
see
but
you
when you
try.
have a smaller
You
budget,
big
you
dumb knucklehead,
ironically
all they
have to
say.
make
All
use of
nose
resources
and no
and ironically
intelligence.
work
Enough!
Nice try. Now back off.
See what these orcs are saying.
What was that?
You gotta
I
forgive
told you
the
there was
Gobblers, they're
something.
awful
Quiet, you
generators.
fool.
I want to hear an orc which is highly educated.
Hey, there was an orc that knows of the existence of menus, so keep that in mind.
Douglas!
Professor Orc. You're just like.
So here, Elven language from Finland.
Oh damn! You just got jump scared.
This land does not belong to you.
Youch.
Oh. Sleepy.
Alright, we've got Alex joining us, and Jarf has his hobbit cloak, and I've got the key to Thorin's Mountain, so that gives me exclusive access, exclusive rights. Can I get all the gold, please? What you put up there.
It's just great that you have that key. And to quickly introduce myself, my name is Alec. I'm just a Scandinavian guy who met ScotsThinker randomly. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, free promotion for you too. Anyway, you can watch the first half later, but basically, Aragorn's hunting down Gollum. Gandalf asked him to do it before the enemy finds him first. Long story short, he also met a ranger. Okay, blah blah blah. Let's go. This is a fan-made film, by the way.
Oh, that looks so good, man.
Aye, for an independent.
The cinematography is on point.
Aye. You gotta remember, this is an independently made film, and for a film that's made independently, it's fairly impressive.
Yeah, and the costumes are amazing as well.
Absolutely. You've got the practical effects down to a T.
In all fairness, I think if you got a bunch of your LARPer friends together, they definitely want to do this.
Yeah.
Find him. Bring him to me.
Far away, Goblock!
Some people were scaring birds. They must be nearby.
Waiting for the hand to just jump at the hole. Oh, look at it.
To jump is cruel. It is certain death. It's not that cool. Fresh fish. Fresh fish.
Oh, I'm surprised you can fit in there.
He's a hobbit creature, remember?
Oh yeah.
And plus, this is an independent movie, so it's probably smaller than it needs to be.
That camera angle.
You will not escape.
Okay, they just got a small child to.
Pretty much.
You understand? Gollum.
Put him in the bag.
Yes. I know your name. You're coming with me to the north.
To find you.
It's filthy nexus.
That's quite smart. They didn't want to do the CGI, so they just put them in a bag.
Yeah.
One would-
Yeah.
Let us out. Let us out.
I love this shot of like that lake.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just awesome.
Gollum,
Yeah,
you need to
aye.
answer me truthfully. I know you
Yeah, he
He looks
definitely
so
got the
much
same
like
right.
Aragorn.
doesn't.
It's just
Aye.
Something you lost.
No.
I wonder where they filmed this.
A ring.
Precious.
Locations include Epping Forest and Mordor, North Wales. Oh, they actually filmed not too far from where you're currently at, Char.
That's nuts.
I will not hurt you.
I thought it looked familiar.
Give me my word.
Wow, you can just film yourself saying, "Hey guys, I'm at the site for Hunt for Gollum."
I've wild camped near there before.
Then you're staying in the sack.
Alright, you're Aragorn and Gollum. Sweet. Hey, you're on, nice!
ah, that's great.
Hey.
Hello. Oh, it's a bit dark here, but you know, Scandinavia, it's dark.
I've seen dark.
I got a friend up in Malmo. He's Malmo?
Oh, man, I feel sorry
It
for
might be
him.
further north. I can't remember. But the sun's screwed from there.
It
Send
makes
me a
so much
picture of it.
sense that like Gollum is just
Yeah.
singing about random stuff he wants to eat in the bag.
The subtitles are... Yeah, pretty much is, yes.
Oh, is that an Ashkull?
It must be, yes.
Oh, I love how dark it is underneath the robe.
It's a well done cosplay.
That's actually pretty spot on.
Alright.
What does it want with us, precious? He wants it. Our birthday present. He doesn't have it. Baggins has it.
That's it? Assets?
Patents, assets.
Curtis, listen. We won't tell him anything.
Cole's about to start talking about his portfolio.
Besides, my precious. He won't get.
I'll earn $300,000 of stocks, precious. I'll own BlackRock shares, precious.
BlackRock shares!
Oh no.
Gollum, you monster!
We rest later.
He's just looking at his one Bitcoin like my precious.
They forced us
Oh my
to
God,
open
imagine.
the power precious. Forced us!
That's
Oh.
a fate worse than death. We had to promote it, precious.
What's he doing?
Oh, he's trying to break free.
He wants to break free!
I thought the Terraria music started playing then for a second.
Nice. Oh,
I like
my
this
God.
this effect they use. It's also used in like a lot of the Rings, where it's like
Yeah.
they zoom in, but it's also widening the shots.
It's
actually a horror film.
Zooms in, but they move the camera backwards, or they move the camera inwards and zoom out. So
That's what they're doing. They're zooming out, and it has this effect of making something that's getting closer also seem like it's getting further away.
they did it in Jaws.
And that's a horror effect.
I
That's
think-
horror movie effects, actually.
I think it's called the dolly shot. It was used in Jaws and in many other movies. Yes.
Oh, that makes sense. And again, it's just cool that the guy who directed Lord of the Rings used both horror movie shots
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like
yeah,
photography.
The Fellowship of the Ring had so many horror vibes from this.
Yeah.
mean, that's the thing with Dark Fantasy, though. You kind of got.
Or your pillows. I mean, imagine waking up and all your pillows are just smashed all over the place.
Nazgul have all the pills.
All the pillows.
Cue the doom music.
Oh. Shit, man. This is 15 years old, and it's a fan movie, and it's still better than The Rings of Power.
Literally, that's what I was saying.
Why does it happen?
Well, if you actually care about the thing you make, you make a better film. Whoa!
Oh, I can't believe it. It's almost as if money is nothing to do something.
Yeah. Maybe all those staff lunches, they're probably the majority of the expense.
Spare no expense.
I'm also very excited for what they'll do with the Hunt for Gollum, like the one they're doing today, but I'm also a bit worried for it.
The boss.
I think one of the issues is that because it's not based on any text-based material, there's not going to be like something deep about it. It's not going to have the same depth. So it's just going to be like exciting movie to... I've read like the Norse sagas and stuff, and they're pretty much like that. It's just violence and quick to action. It isn't too off like the original sagas. But it's still not true to Tolkien, I would say, because it wasn't too much about the action. He had like these philosophical ideas and like other things. That's different.
I definitely think there's one wrong. What I read of it. Because I haven't read the books, but I've seen tons of lore videos.
Oh, the blood and stuff is so disgusting, man. It's still alive! It has a sword through the neck and it's still alive. Oh my god. Oh! Oh, this is actually really good. Oh my god, it has a sword through the neck. I decapitated it. Oh. That's fucking awesome. Oh my.
They must have just been playing with the rubber mask. And
yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense, yeah.
Oh, that's true, actually.
That's a really creative way of using that, though. Obviously,
yeah,
if you put that on a
really
big budget film, like people are gonna be like, "Oh, it's obvious, it's a rubber mask." But
Yeah, with
you know, in this
films, there's much more what do you call it? The leap to imagination in theater. What's it called?
practical effects. You're kind of thinking. You're more willing to suspend your
disbelief. That's it. That's
yeah,
the one.
suspend your
Yes.
disbelief.
Oh yeah, that's also true. That's very important. If you're willing to suspend your disbelief, then you can do everything else. But if you aren't willing to do that, to make like this groundwork, so that you can like suspend it, and that's
that plays
a
into
bad
what,
movie.
Tolkien himself said about secondary belief when it came to being so engaged with a fictional story. And I think that's a term that Tolkien himself came up with, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it might have
That probably is something he came up with himself. Secondary belief.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think with low budget stuff, I find it adds more of a charm anyway. Like this.
I love this. This like scene where he's like dreaming about something else. It just explains very well how Aragorn feels, you know, about Arwen, his love. And how there's this magical love that protects him, and it does also throughout the movie. And I don't know if that's the case with the books, but I think it's just beautiful.
Oh, absolutely.
Enas I Hartha. Si Udahana.
A
the Elvish shivers, man.
The auto translation.
And that's a perfect pick for Arwen. That's a perfect pick for Arwen.
The auto
Man!
Ueri
Oh, it's so good. I can't believe it.
Nimenen Uvethwa.
We've all been there, mate. We've all been there, mate.
You are the heir of Elendil. You have the strength of your forefathers.
I know, I'm a bit of a elf hater myself.
Elf hater. Hey!
Yeah.
An elf hater!
Mainly from Warhammer Fantasy.
Oh, that's
Not
true!
from,
Right.
Shut
not
up,
from
you
Lord of the
knife
Rings.
it!
Yeah, exactly.
Get out of here! Get out of here!
Elves in Lord of the Rings are fine. They're kind of cool.
I love
Elves
like,
in
Lord
other
of the
fiction.
Ring elves, but like Warhammer elves can eat a bag. I'm not going to say the
It's
rest.
so
of it.
annoying.
Yeah. But I love the dwarves as well.
Dwarves in any fiction are great. Yeah.
This is what happens when you go drinking with little hairy women.
Oh, that's a great Gimli impression, man.
The thing that trips me out about dwarves is how long they live.
Oh, I think it's cool. I think like the longevity of the dwarves just makes their like kingdoms underground so amazing because you just have these vast territories.
All this time to make
I think
come
so.
down, Gollum.
Actually make a difference.
Not to mention they're short
Do you have the tree?
enough to get the job done.
It's coming.
This is really smart cinematography, actually.
Oh yeah, it's amazing because you can't see like the costume very well. Watch it. Oh, it's fucking great. They have an astral riding on horseback. And live fire as well.
Practical effects are just so much better.
This is good. Holy sh... it's not just fire, it's like natural elements kind of disrupt the corporeal. But they can like deflect the torch. Yeah, because they're touching the wood to throw the torch like hit in the face. They're born to like destroy it. I wonder if they're gonna have more than one monster, but it's unlikely.
Depends how many people it's costing though.
I can't believe that Aragorn just disarmed that ash. No, he was disarmed.
Need fire, yeah, look at that.
Melamine, come with me. We have your creature.
Ah, sweet.
Oh,
Here come the
those
elves.
are elves. That's awesome. The light. That was awesome. Like the light that came when the elves arrived. First you see like this one elf, then there's a ton of them, and then there's just this bright light. That's just amazing. How did they make this?
It took all their effort, I'd imagine.
2009.
It has to be Saruman.
Mind you, I reckon you give a modern small studio the same budget as whatever they had for this and the same passion, they probably give you something which is better than almost every big budget movie, to be honest.
Wretched. But I now know how the ring came to him. He possessed it long, many lives of his small kind. There is no possible doubt. He made his slow, sneaking way, mile by mile, step by step, south, down at last to Mordor.
So the Shire is at the forefront of our enemy's thoughts. We must protect it. Gandalf, riders in black, have crossed the river. I fear the Nine have returned.
No, it's Gandalf.
Yeah, it's Gandalf, yeah.
I thought it was
Then
Saruman
the
for a
ring
second.
must leave the
Makes
Shire.
sense.
But I am Saruman. A
I
Saruman
must go
as
at
it
once.
should have been.
Oh,
Shadow
that's a
of
good
the
Saruman
past
impression.
once more returns.
Again, your Christopher Lee impression is pretty good
Nevertheless,
generally.
by Gollum's
I remember.
capture,
Gibbets and
one of the
crows!
enemy's next
Don't
move,
it!
Anyway,
Frodo must be protected at all costs.
Send the Hobbit to Bree. I shall watch over the ring until you return.
you'll even offer them second breakfast with
Very
more
well.
apples.
Yeah. What about second breakfast?
And Gollum.
Wait, so this is like the prequel?
Yeah, this is the
Gollum's wretchedness
Yeah, this is the
beyond
prequel
our-
of The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, we've had our Hunt for Gollum film. What about our feature-length Hunt for Gollum film?
What had it got in its pockets?
Now, what about second Gollum?
Wouldn't say precious. No.
This is great, man.
No, Trixie.
I wonder how he gets out of this jail though.
Yeah,
It's
Gollum, you must
shit.
find a way to like sneak out, or either
We
he
should
snuck
have
out, or
squeezed
people
it.
to barge their way in and kidnap him.
We will, precious.
Oh my. That Gollum is actually really good for the time. I can't believe that's like fan made.
So there you go. That is the Hunt for Gollum fan-made film, made all the way back in 2009, and this film was got quite the track record. It even got the attention of a lot of people to rank up there with like the official films themselves, according to film reviewers. Not as highly ranked, of course, but still, the effort was absolutely worth it. So, as of speaking, this video's got over about 13 million views, made 15 years ago, made in like northern Wales, and it's non-profit, unofficial, fan-made film, made from scratch by indie filmmakers in the UK. Tribute to like the Peter Jackson movies, and it's pretty impressive. And people in the comments section are here saying, "Who's here after Peter Jackson announced he's doing the Hunt for Gollum film? Almost 2 decades later, they're making a full-length film with the exact same title."
No way! It's the same title as well?
Reckon he watched it, the fan film.
Oh, that's actually cool. But yeah,
That's a good
he's
point,
right.
actually.
2 decades later.
That's a good point, actually. If Peter Jackson's gonna make this film, he must have known about this film, right?
That would be even more insane if you like knew about this movie.
The fact that it's named exactly the same as, I mean, unless that's the name of the story it comes from.
Yeah,
it
maybe
makes
it's
you think.
different. Now, from what I know, there is no story like this. There is no book material
Actually,
to
there
support
is.
this, and that's a big problem. Is there? Is there a story? Is there like a book material?
Page. Hold on a minute. Hunt for Gollum's sword. Let's see. Where? I'm gonna look for it. Where would it have been? What is the source material for the Hunt for Gollum film? It was in
Based on the appendices.
Hello,
of
and
J.R.R.
welcome back to-
Tolkien's 1954 to 1955 book, Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
Oh, you found it?
Yeah,
I
there
think
you
it was
have it.
in the
So
appendices.
it's from the appendices, so it's
Yes.
not even like a story in of itself. It's just like this is how it happened, as he wrote it like after, to, like explain it even more. So I think that's a bit of a problem because the Lord of the Rings movies had a ton of book material, but then you have like The Hobbit. That's one book spread across 3 films, and because of that, you have to fill in a lot of that with like you make up on your own. And I think this is kind of a situation where Peter Jackson, he's awesome at adaptation, like phenomenal. But making his own stuff, he's not quite good at that. And because of that, you have this varying level of creative skill where it's like the stuff that he makes where he adapts Tolkien's work is actually awesome. But I think this where he then makes things on his own, it's not quite as well. And that, I think, will be a problem we'll see very expressly in the Gollum movies as well.
I mean,
They're making like 2, I think.
I mean, I've yet to see Jackson's other works. I know he's made like horror films, and he's made a few World War II theme and Beatles themed documentary works, and he likes flying planes in his spare time. I've only seen all his Middle Earth films so far, including the extended editions, as well as his adaptation of King Kong. And looking at the filmography that I can see so far, even when in the case of the King Kong movie and the Hobbit trilogy, he can have a tendency to get a bit indulgent at times with his creative input. But unlike the people who made Rings of Power, there is one thing I completely respect Peter Jackson for, and it's this: passion. When you see that King Kong film and the Hobbit trilogy, even in the moments where it kind of wavers a bit, the way it drags the scenes a bit on for too long or gets a bit goofy at times, there's still that passion there. There's still that heart of saying, I want to tell a story about these great, bigger than life narratives, about how these characters grow, about these great creative scenarios. Like, if you just look at the behind the scenes footage of The Hobbit, I love watching that. It's clear that the cast members were having a really fun time filming those sequences.
Yeah.
The extended edition of the Hobbit trilogy, unpopular opinion, with the exception of the Battle of the Five Armies, I'd actually say the extended editions are absolutely worth it, because yeah, there is more songs being put into the extended edition of Unexpected Journey, but guess what? There are lots of songs in the Hobbit's book anyway, so it's a more accurate adaptation.
Yeah, it's more accurate. And I actually entirely agree with you. And you know what? I have a hot take. I think that the Hobbit movies get way too much and way too much hate. I actually really love the Hobbit movies, and I think that a lot of love went into it while they made it. And as you said, they were having fun. This was a cast that were passionate and engaged in the story. And of course there are technical issues with like how they had different studios intervening with the project. If one studio had made The Hobbit and if they had made 2 films instead, I think that would have been very good even.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think that would have been astonishing. And there are people who have made their own like fan cuts where they've like cut off some like less true to the book's material, and it's actually better. And I think there were certain scenes like the burial of Thorin that was removed, and they should have added those scenes. I don't know why they removed the burial. If they had that, everything else would have made much more sense.
At least it was in the extended edition.
Yeah.
All right, so this is kind of unrelated, but his King Kong movie has a few similar attributes.
I've seen that.
Yeah,
it was good.
I mean, you could say that the original King Kong movie got straight to the point, but with the his own adaptation, yeah, there were some scenes that were kind of padded on, but there were clearly some other things that updated and harmonized with the original, such as more of emphasis on the emotional and heartfelt side of the story, the bond between Kong, brilliantly portrayed by Andy Serkis, and the Naomi Watts character, as well as more stakes with and especially the impressive effects. So there is that going for it. With Peter Jackson's reputation in mind, how do you think he's going to approach his own hunt for Gollum reputation, with the assistance of Andy Serkis, mind you?
I do think that, considering he's got a decently good track record at adapting stuff, I think he's probably going to take this appendix. He's obviously got a lot more creative freedom than I guess some of the other projects, which he's done. But you know, there's going to be some flexibility. I doubt it's going to be a Rings of Power like level tragedy, but
no.
I'll know that once I see the cast. You know what I mean? Like if it's too many people, like if we have Ryan Gosling in there or something silly, like you know what I mean? It probably won't happen, but you know, then you know it. They're not taking it seriously. You know what I mean?
I can see it for Ryan Gosling playing like Aragorn or something. That would be stupid, man. But I think
you know what I mean? Like
that would be just.
You can really
Oh my
tell
God.
what kind of vibe they want to give to a film when it's in production by which actors they pick in the film.
Yeah.
And then, you know, in terms of writing, if they do a trailer and the trailer seems like it's giving a lot away that happens in the film and it seems really action packed, that normally means they've shown you everything good that happens in the film. So I'm kind of sitting there like, I want to see. It's really interesting for me. I think he'll do definitely a good job, and I think people will definitely be happy with it. But I also feel like the old kind of more, you know, the people who hated on The Hobbit, for instance, even though I thought that was really good, they're gonna hate on this.
Yeah.
They're absolutely gonna hate
I
on
think
this.
that's kind of inevitable by now. Yeah.
Because the original trilogy is pristine and you cannot touch it, and it's too perfect.
I mean, as of
Should we watch like the Men of the West video quickly and then like discuss it? You can like pause on the way maybe. Yeah, Men of the West is a good channel.
Right. Should we watch that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Really, I think.
Okay. All right.
And we'll just like
Ladies and
pause on the
gentlemen,
way.
I understand
We have
that many
time,
of you have
right?
questions
We have
about
time for
this
this.
flight.
Hey, look, it's Richard Armitage. It's Thorin. What's he doing here?
And are scared. Whilst I can confirm that there have been 4 deaths on board, I assure.
Yes, there have been 4 deaths. Some of the dwarves have sadly joined Thorin up in the halls.
Oh yeah.
Hey everyone,
let's
Yoistin
have a
here, and I
look.
hope you all are doing well. From what we can tell, it's going to be Warner Brothers, it's going to be Andy Serkis at the helm, and Andy Serkis as Gollum. The working title for the project is called The Hunt for Gollum, a similar movie of which came out many, many years ago. It was a
which we just saw.
Fan film called The Hunt
It's
for
the
Gollum.
same title.
And
he
I
mentions
always
the fan movie. That's interesting.
really loved this. So the fact that we've got producers, Peter Jackson, we've got, of course, again, Jackson, Walsh, and Boyens being Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens. And they say together in that joint statement, it's an honor and privilege to travel back to Middle-earth with our good friend and collaborator Andy Serkis, who has unfinished business with that stinker Gollum. As lifelong fans of Professor Tolkien's vast mythology, we are proud to be working with Mike DeLuca, Pam Abdi, and the entire team at Warner Brothers on another epic adventure. Sorry if I mispronounced any names. Right, and Serkis, of course, coming in with his Gollum impression. He says, "Yes, precious, the time has come once more to venture into the unknown with my dear friends, the extraordinary and incomparable guardians of Middle-earth, Peter, Fran, and Philippa."
Yes, precious. The time has come once
Yes,
more
precious.
to venture into the unknown with my dear friends. My friends. You don't have any friends. Nobody likes you. The extraordinary
That's such a good f***ing impression.
Yours is pretty good too, yeah.
Thank you, precious.
Mike and Pam and the Warner Brothers Warner Brothers team on the quest as well, alongside Weta and our filmmaking family in New Zealand. It's just all too delicious. And I have to agree.
It sounds
This
really
is
nice.
incredible news, especially for anyone who fell in love with Tolkien's works like I did through the movies. Right? There are a lot of fans that were from the era before the Peter Jackson movies, maybe from the animated movies, or just from picking up and reading the books as they found them in a library or a bookstore back in the late 1900s. But so many of us today fell in love with this franchise through Peter Jackson's movies and the subsequent games, with potentially a newer crowd. We have yet to see this manifest, but potentially a newer crowd coming in through the Rings of Power.
Ooh, yikes, man. I don't think anyone's getting brought in there.
If anyone learns of Lord of the Rings through the Rings of Power and TikTok, we should gatekeep. We should start gatekeeping communities, man. But changing 40,000 years of lore and like decades of real life lore just to have a diversity quota? Hell no.
It suspends belief.
Right, look, I mean, to be fair, like, Peter Jackson did add in a little bit of diversity in the Hobbit films, if you're actually paying attention, and not that the woke crowd would actually admit
Yeah,
this.
there's female dwarves in the Hobbit.
Yes, they keep saying, the first female dwarf, you not been paying attention? There were literally female dwarves in the first.
I prefer them doing that, where they just take something in lore and then just show it off just to appease these people and get marketing money. That's fine, okay? It's when you go back and correct the lore or find some tiny little gap which is incongruent, even if it's a slight loophole. Like, as I said, I don't want my mum to remind me that I've got to do homework.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. She has to
like,
tell
you know
a
what I'm
story.
saying?
And in the not only an unexpected journey, but if you're actually paying attention to the Desolation of Smaug in the human town of Lake Town, there's actually quite a wide diversity of Asian people and African people. But unlike Rings of Power, they don't shove it in your face, and you can fill in the gaps that okay, well maybe they came in from the south and migrated, so.
Exactly, because it's the center of trade in the north.
Yes.
This is a trading city,
Yes.
and people travel out and leave the city and come to it and migrate. So the ethnography makes all sense. That's why it's
that
fine.
Kind of diversity makes sense to the world building. So if they had that kind of explanation for this female dwarf character, that would make more sense for her existence, as well as this.
Exactly, man.
Anyway.
Show. And so many of us, myself included, were disappointed to not see Peter, Fran, and Philippa being on board with Rings of Power, really.
And I don't think they'd ever want to be part of the Rings of Power, given its quality. In fact, Bernard Hill criticized this. Viggo Mortensen literally forgot this show even existed.
You know what I reckon they should do? I reckon they should make an animated version of the Rings of Power and make it actually good, and then say that's the Rings of Power.
That seems like fun.
That would make much sense to me.
I think the only good scenes from the Rings of Power, it's like the battles with the Balrogs, where you see like stories from, you know, the Silmarillion and stuff, where they aren't talking, there's no dialogue, and it's just people fighting and dying. That's the only good part about the Rings of Power. Yeah. You get to see Balrogs fighting. Let's just go on. Let's not pause for a little bit so we can see what's going on.
Being collaborators. Seeing that this is a bit more of an anthology type of, you know, single character, character-driven type of movie. Probably not Lord of the Rings. Middle-earth cinematic universe would be great if done in the right way. And what?
Well, I mean, you have a lot of source material to work off with, to be fair.
Yeah. I actually wish that was how they would have done the Rings of Power instead. Like a ton of different characters from like the Silmarillion slowly getting turned into like this massive story that's set in like the ancient time of Middle Earth, like the first and second age, right? But they just completely it. Yeah. But let's just go on.
What do I mean? So does that mean we get a recasted Aragorn, since Viggo Mortensen is 25 years older than he was during the making of The Lord of the Rings?
Please no.
Oh.
Use CGI face to make him look younger. He can still do it. I know he can. He's a master.
Yeah.
Come on.
I have no issue with that.
On one hand, I hate recasting, but on the other, I also hate CGI enhancing the face.
The only way I could justify a recasting is if they have some younger actor who looks somewhat similar to Viggo Mortensen and could imitate him well enough. I would accept that, because, you know, younger actors...
Or Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling! Oh, shit, no thank you. Oh, thank you! We do not want Ryan Gosling! We don't want it. We don't want these, like...
It's literally me.
Arathorn, I'm gonna cry. You better not. Can you fucking imagine?
They should hire me to pick the cast for all these films.
Cut this out.
Do we go Viggo Mortensen back as a de-aged Aragorn, right? That they digitally de-age him or something?
Yeah.
How do we play with that? I mean, the fact that we will see another Aragorn on screen again from these same creators.
It's definitely possible. It has been done well, so I think it's possible. It's possible.
Like you want to create an economy where you hire new actors, but at the same time for stuff that's really long-standing franchises. You want anyway. Let's try and continue and end this.
Something I never thought I would see, right? And Aragorn's my favorite character of of all time of fiction and fantasy, movies, books. He's my favorite character. So the fact that we will see him hopefully playing a role in the hunt for Gollum, him and Gandalf, and the same goes for Ian McKellen here. Do we see him back as Gandalf in Mirkwood after Gollum's captured? The fact that we could see these guys back in action is just amazing. And again, it's a nice isolated story. The Gollum game tried to tell at least part of it. And you know, it's explored well enough to where we're familiar with it enough, but it'll be great to actually see it and all the rest of the events play out on screen. So a ton to look forward here to, and a ton more to look forward to as well, because it looks like these are the kind of movies we're going to be getting, more tightly knit, maybe character focused movies that play into Peter Jackson's cinematic Middle-earth experience. And so do we get Howard Shore back for some music? Hopefully. I really hope so. That would be awesome. The Gollum
please.
theme, the Gollum song from the Two Towers. Do we get different renditions of that? Maybe in a different key, in a different tone, sang differently, things like that. Like, do we get almost like poetry, right? Where it feels very similar but different at the same time.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Since it is this different and independent, unique story.
I'll say a bit about
just
music as
so
well,
excited. And again, there are a couple more movies coming our way, so I've seen this thrown around by my friend Matt at Nerd of the Rings. Are we in a new golden age of Tolkien's works? I really hope so. I'll keep us up to date. Again, try to make more of these informal, informational videos. And so, thanks to our Valor tier patrons.
All right, so what do you think about the potential for the Hunt for Gollum movie overall, given everything that's just been explained?
I think it has good potential, but I don't know if it can stand very well on its own.
I mean,
this isn't a Rogue One situation. If it was a Rogue One situation, where you find out how the flaw was built into the Death Star, that's a brilliant way to make a movie that kind of explains that. But when you have such a weak foundation, how did they capture Gollum? Well, you kind of get told that they captured him, but it was too late. And I don't know if you need to know more. So that's the whole problem, I think. But it does have potential if they decide to recast Aragorn with Viggo Mortensen and then, de-age him with some digital stuff. That's one possibility. But it's still worrying.
I think the music is going to be very, very promising because I don't know who they're going to get composing. I hope they get the same guy composing for continuity's sake. But even then, I definitely think people don't realize, even with films like Star Wars, for instance, the actual lyrics. You know, Duel of the Fates.
No.
Yeah, if I was gonna sing it, that's actually a Welsh poem, which was written a while ago. So this is actually really unknown stuff, which I'm quite surprised. I got told this quite early on. This is actually a Welsh poem, which is basically written out, and that's what the inspiration for the lyrics comes from. And it's about two warriors fighting a dreadful battle. So again, I was saying how stuff's inspired by folklore. With the Lord of the Rings, obviously you got a lot of that kind of elvish violin kind of stuff going on. You got a lot of that kind of folk instrument stuff, and I'm really invested in folk instruments and playing with my folk band and stuff. So when I hear that stuff kicking in, I'm just they've done it justice. Okay, a lot of the time, a film can be shaky as long as it's not awful, because normally the score itself, if it's a good quality score, people normally want to pay better homage to the actual filmmaking, because actually the score's written before they do any screenplay. So if the music's sitting there and it makes people feel it right, then what you end up with is better screenplay, because people get in the atmosphere more, because it's got to be edited to the music and stuff. So I feel them going with the same composer would be a very, very good sign. And if we hear the trailers and it's similar motifs, similar kind of stuff going on, obviously that folk influence coming in, not some weird Dune style Brahms. You can have a bit of that, maybe make it a bit more modern. I've heard some they can do throat singing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time,
I
you're
love
still
your taste, man.
trying to depict Gollum, so it's going to be a bit
Yeah.
sneakier.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's going to be very tense. It's going to be kind of
Gollum
like,
has his own leitmotifs
what's going on there?
in the throughout the Middle Earth saga. So.
Exactly.
Did they compose the music before they went ahead with the filming? During...
That's standard. That's standard Hollywood procedure. So you'd essentially get the pre-production stage and the score itself. Normally they actually make the score over like a period of like 1 or 2 weeks. The actual like recording and stuff of it and like the writing to studio occurs like super quickly, like sometimes like 2 weeks. In the case of something like Dune, it probably took a bit longer because they had to like enter a pre-production stage.
Plus, Hans was having fun.
Yeah, exactly. But he actually hires a bunch of people. Guthrie Gunn's one of them, and if he's actually a super influential guitarist, in terms of like progressive metal and a lot of the metal industry. So even if it's just a quick film score, as I said, if you do something like in a compacted timeline, it can be done really well. I think if it has a strong pre-production and they get the same composer on, that should end up with better screenplay. The artists will feel more inspired. The people editing it will feel more inspired. It'll go well. On the flip side, if they get a new composer in, it could be possibly disastrous. If they get Hans Zimmer in, I don't think he'd fit it, honestly. I don't want to hear Hans Zimmer compose on this. And I like hearing him compose on a lot of other stuff, but I don't want him composing on this, for instance.
Imagine Hans Zimmer would at least do his research on the Howard Shore score, and then he tried to do his best to pay homage to that.
That's also possible.
He has collaborated with other composers side by side before, like with John Powell for a lot of DreamWorks movies before he had to do stuff on his own. So I think it's possible.
I have one question. Who composed the music for like the Hobbit
Howard
movies?
Shore.
So it was the same guy that made the Lord of the Rings? Yes. Like, okay, so that's why the music is so good. Okay, that makes more sense. But if it was a different guy, then it proves that you can accomplish the same style through, someone else. But of course, it is concerning if they don't have him back. But we can't force them to make a movie with him if he can't be there to do it,
I suppose my overall thoughts on this Hunt for Gollum film is that you have the fan film, and that told the story fairly well within the span of about approximately 40 minutes. Whilst the
so it's a recatch of it's like a remake of that movie with a higher budget, and I don't know if that's just fair.
I mean, it's probably gonna be like usually these movies are like 3 hours long. I mean, I love the Middle Earth stories. I would love to get immersed in these stories, but at the same time, this story is a bit more on the basic side. So, what are you gonna do to pad out the rest? Are you gonna refine relationships, or
it depends how much of a prequel they want to make it, because they can make it like a full prequel.
Right.
But the problem is you have to include it with the Hunt for Gollum. We've got interpretation of what happens when he goes off on his mission. Obviously, we saw Gandalf at the start.
Aye.
What happens before then?
That's a good question.
So I suppose you could cover that. Basically, from what I can recall of the lore, the reason why Gollum didn't immediately chase after Bilbo to get out of the tunnel was, well, in the books, there was a goblin door that Bilbo had to squeeze through, but either way, whether it be the book or the film, Gollum hesitated to go outside because he's been indoors, in the mountain for so long, being the skulking creature that he is, that he's become the kind of dark creature similar to the orcs and the goblins, where daylight kind of has this sort of harmful effect on him, so it took Gollum some time to readjust to the sun again, and even then he was more comfortable crawling around at nighttime, so it took him time to actually be bold enough to skulk out of the mountain again, and then he was trying to hunt down Bilbo and trying to search his footsteps, and so he did.
Do you think we're going to get a kind of horror orientated kind of version of this, where Gollum is actually played up as a very, very cunning kind of enemy, which is, you don't want to be, like, kind of like Chucky. Like, we're obviously he's not going to trap you in a room, but, like, that kind of vibe where he's really intelligent. He has power over you for reasons which are just due to cunning rather than, being this evil with dark powers or something.
Aye.
That's actually a really great idea. If they make him like a threat, an actual like mindful danger, they kind of manipulate situations. And that's actually what you see happening in the Lord of the Rings movie. It kind of makes them feel uncomfortable, like as they're walking through Mordor.
Yeah.
And
I
like tries to
remember-
attack them at night.
Yeah.
If he does shit like that, then you have like this great action movie where it's like trying to track down something that's actively trying to kill you and stalk you just as much as you're trying to capture it.
They could
And that would make for a fantastic movie.
They could recapture his essence from like the first Fellowship of the Ring movie. Obviously,
Yeah.
he was actually. I felt he was quite threatening in like the original Fellowship of the Ring movie. I was kind of dreading to see him in person because of how he was presented in the Fellowship of the Ring movie. Like he was always in the shadows or always lurking, always like following you, somehow managing to get past this and that.
Very tenacious.
Only to have other characters say, "Wait, there he is." Right there, and it's so creepy
Yeah.
just to see this thing with the beady, like the big glowy eyes, like
Yeah, the glowing eyes. Ooh, I
Yeah,
hated
yeah,
that
just-
so
just
much,
this
man.
thing that's following you, and then he's behind the log in the river, but then suddenly the log just kind of goes boom, and he's like gone elsewhere, and like even like in the Hobbit film, like I mean, Andy Serkis is really skilled with this. He's such a skilled watcherman that the way he paddles, if he wants to be quiet, he's so delicate with the way he pushes his boat forward. He doesn't even make so much as a ripple. He's obviously very skulky, very quiet, and there is this threat of this cunning little thing. Like if he wanted you, he could sneak up on you and like strangle you or like take a bite out of you. And like I said earlier, like when he was hunting down where his precious ring is, he had to like steal other people's fish and eat other babies, which is terrifying.
Oh yeah, that's also scary, man. Oof.
Yeah.
Like this is what I'm saying, because he is very, very tenacious. You could have him as kind of like a horror villain in a lot of ways, where it's basically like, okay, you've just had a battle or something with some orc raiders or something, who are just like going around mugging people. Cool, and now you're locked in a room because you're able to keep them out, and they're banging on the door or something, and then you figure out where's Gollum, and then it's just like, oh, that would be the kind of stuff I could see it being really fun with.
I suppose
that's nasty.
Something they could actually do is that Aragorn did showcase his skills as a huntsman and a strider, and even in the Two Towers when he was tracking down where Merry and Pippin was, they could take more of an advantage of that aspect. Like imagine the creative visuals and the flash forwards and flashbacks and the little visuals they could give to indicate Aragorn's skills as a huntsman. Like you could say something
like a little battle between them, which is like not a battle, but like a battle of wits, would be perfect.
Similar to like Light Yagami versus El and Death Note or something.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Yeah,
that would be so cool. Like that would actually justify a feature length. Just this expert huntsman versus this expert lurky man. Like that would actually justify a full length feature if you ask me. Actually.
Yeah, it reminds me of like something akin to like Aliens versus Xenomorph, or maybe that's not what it's called. It's
Alien versus Predator.
Yeah, Aliens versus Predator. It's like the perfect like beast versus the perfect hunter.
Yeah.
You have like the scenario.
Oh man, now
that's actually pretty cool.
Now that would justify a feature length. Just like 30 additional minutes of just Aragorn trying his hardest to find the skulking thing. But even when, Aragorn could easily kill him off. And even, Gollum doesn't really stand much of a chance against Aragorn. But Gollum is so sneaky, Aragorn's probably going to have a harder time than usual hunting him down.
Yeah. And it would also be really cool. So, as I said, also, if you're ever watching this, Peter Jackson, you're welcome. You have your movie.
Yay!
There we go. We have our movie.
Yeah.
Aliens versus Predator, man.
Yeah. He could also delve. I mean, Peter Jackson has his experience with horror movies, so this could actually work.
Oh yeah.
And also.
Yeah, this could be his first Lord of the Rings horror movie, and I think it would work perfectly. Like this terrifying creature of the night. You know?
Aye. What's more, with Aragorn, you could delve more into his Dúnedain background and then more into his fellow comrades and fellow huntsmen, and maybe delve more into like the Elven Kingdom where Gollum is eventually held captive and things like that. You could definitely expand on that. So, yeah, this could actually work. This could actually work.
I see the light, or maybe I should say I see the dark.
Maybe we should turn the light on. Hold on a minute.
I've spooked Scott out. There we are.
Right. Hunt for Gollum. What will you think about this film? Let us know in the comments down below, and I guess we'll catch up with each other in 2 years' time. I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. And thanks for having me, man.
Ah, you're welcome.
Toast to all of you.
Skull.
Go.
I'm very happy to have met you, and also to have called face to face. It's been great, and I've loved doing this reaction and giving thoughts. And I hope this movie turns out amazing. The book material is concerning. That's my concluding thoughts on this whole thing. This whole deal is that there's not enough material, so we can hope that there's enough substance for them to make a great movie out of this. Thank you for watching.
Alright,
Cheers, man.